Thursday edition. It is orange and blue today. Cecil Lammy, Andrew Mason. Where's the rock music? There it is, Mace. And where are the 7-round mock drafts? I guess it's ESPN. Where are the former GMs? Some on NFL Network, some on ESPN. But the perfect fit, the best fit for the Denver Broncos, folks have opinions on which running back that could be.
Yeah. And which running back is right for the Denver Broncos? Which one is the best fit? And when is the best time to get the running back? You know, George Payton, I like to keep citing that quote from George Payton at the Combine last month. All different flavors. And what flavor you want, what flavor you get, I guess depends on when you put that scoop into the vat of ice cream, as it were, and then start digging up a flavor of running back, a flavor of ice cream. From what taste do you get? Of course, what we saw today, you're citing the 7-round draft, mock draft from Matt Miller, right?
Yep.
Of course, that was out there on ESPN today. Matt Miller, of course, said Quinshin Judkins, who we've talked about a lot.
Yes.
From Ohio State there in the 2nd round. I have not taken a deep dive into it just yet. Did he go 2 running backs or did he go 1 running back?
I have not yet taken a deep dive either, so that's my bad on that, Mace, because I'm the one that brought it up, but I know who he's got in the 1st round. That's a little interesting.
Okay, well, actually, I'm going to go through it because I did a control F here, okay?
Okay, there you go.
Luther Bird in round 1.
Yes, that's
wide receiver, very interesting pick. So there's Judkins in round 2, Shamar Turner round 3, defensive lineman, Jake Major, center from Texas in round 4, Joshua Simon, tight end from South Carolina, round 6, Bilal Cohn, a cornerback from Western Michigan, round 6. And yeah, looks like that's the only Broncos that Jog Joyner, edge from Minnesota. So only 1 running back there. Quinshin Judkins.
Okay, and it's Judkins, and it's not Omarion Hampton. You were on a conference call with Mike Tannenbaum, former general manager, longtime executive, now on the ESPN, and I think he has a very strong opinion on who he believes Sean Payton would like, and I think this makes a lot of sense because here's the thing, Mace. Just like Sean Payton picked the fit for Bo Nix, he's looking for the fit at running back too.
Yeah, and Tannenbaum is one of those people, you know, I know he's very polarizing in sort of the analyst community, but to his credit, he was one of those that nailed Bo Nix last year to the Broncos and nailed him as far as being a Sean Payton fit. And in terms of how he does a lot of his draft analysis, he's looking for coach fit, scheme fit. That's where Tannenbaum tends to operate from when he goes about his mock process. And I looked back at what he wrote about Bo Nix to the Broncos last year. He was pretty consistent on talking about Bo Nix to the Broncos, and he talked about scheme fit, coach fit with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. So that's why when he wrote about Omarion Hampton to the Broncos this week, you know, there are some people when they put a mock draft out, let's face it, sometimes I'll just be like, okay, whatever. Tannenbaum talking about Omarion Hampton to the Broncos and categorizing him as, quote, a great fit for the Broncos, quote unquote, great fit. I thought, okay, this has my attention a little bit. Tannenbaum then going on being available on a conference call meant I wanted to ask him about this. And so first things first, I did the old 2-part thing. And so when it was my turn on the conference call, I said, okay, Mike, I got a 2-parter for you. First part was asking about the great fit, why he saw Omarion Hampton as a great fit for Sean Payton.
Home run speed, he can catch. And you can't play running back for Sean Payton if you can't catch. All college running backs are going to have to get better at blocking. I have no doubt that he will.
Acknowledging, yeah, every running back's got a block to play every down, and every running back coming from college is going to need work as a blocker. Nobody comes out of the college ranks as a finished product as a blocker. They're going to have to improve.
Right.
The thing is, do you have the body type to improve and become a plus player as a blocker? I mean, Jaleel McLaughlin, for example, he's willing and he puts in the time and he puts in the effort and the film study and the diligence, but his body type means that his ceiling is going to be pretty low as a blocker, which is why what we saw late last year when they were going through him and Audric Estime and Javonte Williams, and it didn't really say much for that running back trio that he really was the most effective of the three, but it's still not ideal for him to be an every down back because he simply does not have the frame to be an every down running back because the body type can only do but so much as a pass protector.
Right.
So he is simply a change of pace back. That is what his body type, his skill set allows him to do. And that's fine.
Right.
It doesn't mean Jaleel McLaughlin does not have a place in the Broncos running back room. It means he's not going to be 1 or 1A there.
Right.
I mean, I think Jaleel McLaughlin's going to be on this team, but I don't think he's going to be running back 1 or 1A. That's okay.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, he's going to have some high value touches, Mace, especially if I'm getting to the red zone, I'm getting to that pylon like he did multiple times last year. But in pass protection, like you mentioned, he's willing. But as Zap Brannigan said on Futurama, the flesh or the will is strong, but the flesh is spongy and weak.
Yeah, I don't want to say it like that because I mean,
he's very strong.
There's no doubt he has the will.
Oh yeah, and he knows what to do. He's talked to us about hand placement and how much he's emphasized that. He's just light, man.
He's going to get every ounce out of the gifts that he possesses.
Yes,
and it's to his credit. And unfortunately, it's not a try-hard league, but my goodness, he gets every ounce out of what he has.
Yes.
So,
yep.
I feel like I almost feel like, and I hate quoting Rudy because it's a terrible movie, but it's sort of like when the coach tells, that guy who's, was the, high school All-American, and then he's on the bench. Like, if you had a 10th of a heart of Rudiger's, you've been All-American, like, right? Like something like that. Like, if everybody worked like Jaleel McLaughlin, you win every Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's just
right. Mm-hmm.
But that's the way it is. That's that's why some guys stick around the league even though they don't necessarily have the gifts of other players. But anyway, I could do a whole show on that, but I digress. So you got to have that physicality. You've got to have a certain body type. Omarion Hampton has that body type. So if he's got the willingness and he's going to put in and he puts in the time, he should eventually be a good blocker. Javonte Williams, to his credit, he put in the time, he put in the work, he became a good blocker. As George Payton said, George Payton went, was pounding the table for him at the combine, saying, "Hey, best blocking back in the NFL." I think he was doing that to sell his guy on the market.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Throw him a solid, right?
Yeah, I like this guy. He worked hard for us. It didn't work out because of that horrific knee injury, but I still want him to do okay as on a human level. So, I mean, Javonte said some nice things about Sean Payton, talking to Dallas Cowboys media. So, hey, it's all cool. It's all good, right?
Yeah, no problems here.
So, but that's why, when Tannenbaum talks about about the blocking thing, you can say that about any running back. But Omarion Hampton, he should be able to flourish at that. But you got to catch the ball.
Yep.
You got to catch the ball. And of course, that's where that's where the whole Alvin Kamara things comes in, because Alvin Kamara catches the ball. And that's where the next comment came into play, because I did ask Tannenbaum, the follow-up was, why take a running back early when there's a lot of depth in this class? Like, when you've got so many good running backs, what's the kind of the value add from going running back in round 1, when I think, and Tannenbaum says there are 20 draftable running backs in this class? Why go with Omarion Hampton early? Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, it's a great question. We talked about that yesterday. Like, you're going to see over 20 running backs drafted. The depth and the quality, like in prior years, we'd be talking about Cam Scalaboo more. I mean, DJ Hart. There's so many guys like we could talk about. I just think Hampton's speed, size, and his ability to catch, I think Sean's going to have a tough time passing that guy up. I think he's going to see Alvin Kamara.
Woo! You love that.
That's a spicy meatball.
Yes, it is. And even as someone who's called Travion Henderson the most Kamara-like in this class, Mace, he doesn't have the power of Kamara. Guess who does? He plays in North Carolina, or I should say used to.
Yeah. If Sean Payton sees Alvin Kamara in any of these running backs,
he's getting him.
He's going to try to move heaven and earth to get him.
As he should. And Mace, I believe, and call this tinfoil hat if you'd like, but I believe he doesn't want to tip anybody off. And that's why they're not at Ashton Genty's pro day. That's why they're not at Ohio State's pro day. They might actually like Travion Henderson and just brought in Judkins to talk to him about Henderson. That's also part of something that goes on in these pre-draft meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sean wants this super secret. I think Sean wants to crush it like he did with Bo Nix, dude. And that means keeping it secret and not really tipping his hand.
Yeah. With those Ohio State guys, there are so many Ohio State prospects that you could get. If you want Travion Henderson, there are a lot of prospects you could talk to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Sean's going to be somewhat clandestine during this time, which he should be, Mace. You and I have been around this team long enough to know and remember when the leaks were there. Talk about fixing the glitch. With Sean Payton, you and I, and you can speak on this. I don't want to speak totally for you, but just for the audience out there, you and I, let's just say, do not hear very much, or do not hear as much as we used to from that building. It is tight. And I'll add this: if someone is out there professing they're inside and knowing all this stuff, like, you're guessing. Those guys are pretty tight-lipped now with Sean Payton.
And some of the things that are out there that may seem like they're inside information are actually things put out there to put people off the scent.
Every team does that. Yep.
So things that may seem like they're insider information are actually things that are meant to get you to chase in another direction.
Mm-hmm.
It is the misinformation season. It is the disinformation season. It is better to simply talk about how players might be fits than to chase every rumbling, every rumor that's out there. Because doing so is by and large a futile quest. I mean, we have that page that's at denversports.com that puts together all the contacts that have been made that are out there, but we know that not every contact, not every interview is going to be public. It's just interesting to see what has gotten out there. Some of it is, leaked from agents. Some of it is the players at the combine saying, "Hey, I interviewed with that." That's probably a good chunk of them. We asked at the combine, we asked at the Shrine, we asked at the Senior Bowl. Some of them, like at the Senior Bowl, at the Shrine, Broncos scouts, and they're going to try to talk to as many players as possible, right? So I think the interesting ones tend to be the 30 visits, because a lot of those 30 visits are actually the start of the post-draft recruiting process. Some of them are about players you might be drafting, but some of them are also, if you see some of those 30s and they're players that weren't at the combine, that's about starting to lay the groundwork for when you get past the draft and you're trying to sign guys in that furious hour or so towards the end of the draft and right after the draft, and you're trying to bring your undrafted pool together really quickly. You're trying to lay the groundwork for that. A lot of the work in recruiting is actually done right now, done by your scouts, done by your position coaches, because that's where relationship building can help you bring that group together.
Yep.
And remember, and the Broncos don't have a 7th round pick right now. So they're in an interesting spot here. If you have a bunch of 7th round picks, you can actually sort of get a jump on that undrafted pool and say, oh, well, we're not sure if we can get this guy. Let's get them right now. Like if we're not sure we're going to get that player, you just use a draft pick on that guy.
Yeah.
If you really want them.
Devon Baylor.
Yep. Which is why you go back to 2018, for all the people who say, hey, like they really, Philip Lindsay, they really wanted him. They didn't draft Philip Lindsay. They had some picks at the end of that draft. They picked a running back. They picked David Williams, not Philip Lindsay.
Do you know where David Williams was at in my rankings? Because I remember on the air, D asked me, he's like, where do you have David Williams ranked? I go, 60.
He ran very upright.
And his mother was a dancer. That's the main thing I remember, is that I talked to him, I think, at like rookie mini camp, because I was like, I know very little about David Williams. And then he's like, my mom was a dancer. And that's the only thing I remember about him. I remember he's my number 60 pick. And I remember his mom was a dancer. So Rhythm is a dancer too, Mace.
I remember that when he ran so upright that he looked a little like Eric Dickerson, but he didn't have the open field speed of Eric Dickerson.
Right. Very few do. Very few do.
Which is why he didn't stick around for long.
Yes. Yeah. So you can use those draft picks. We'll see. For me, the 30 visits, Mace, for the receivers specifically, and we could talk about this in a later show. But for the receivers, there's a type. Sean Payton's got a type, big and fast, because they're talking to some big and fast receivers that'll be undrafted or late round picks.
Well, we saw that last year. He likes length and he likes size.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it doesn't have to be big bodied, because like Troy Franklin's not a big body, but he's got length and he's got length and he's he's north of 6'2". Like that's what he's looking for. Sean Payton has a type.
Yeah. You'll remember Chris Chambers, and Chris Chambers, I think, was 5'11" for the Dolphins back in the day, but his length, his wingspan was huge. So he played like he was 6'4". So Sean Payton is not just looking for 6'4" guys. He's looking for guys that, hey, are you 6'2" with some length? Are you 6'1" with some length? That's the type of guy. It's
why, I mean, we saw, we referenced the Matt Miller mock draft earlier in this show.
Yes.
Luther Burden is 6 feet. 31.25-inch arms. That doesn't really fit the Sean Payton template.
Mm-hmm.
8.5-inch hands as well. Not big hands.
Right.
I mean, he's an electric player. There's no doubt.
Sure.
But he does not fit the Sean Payton receiver template, receiver mold.
Well, at running back, who does fit, Mace, as we tie a bow on today's show, and I will say this, maybe I'm emotional and opinionated. I'm totally emotional and opinionated, and I apologize for that at times. Sometimes no. If it's Omarion Hampton, because you said it, dude, if he falls in love with this guy, he's the guy. And he's not even the guy at 20. He's the guy at 11 or whatever. Like, if he's the guy, Sean Payton will get him. And I believe it's in the first round. And I believe we're going to learn very little from Sean about which of these running backs he likes. But if he falls in love, he's moving.
You're saying we're not going to learn anything on Monday when he has his session with media down in Palm Beach?
Well, you know what I want to ask him, and hopefully that question is asked. And yeah. Kliss asked me about that today, by the way, on the air. I was like, sore subject, Mike. I said, yeah, something came up, so I will not be there. But man, I want to learn something. I want to learn something about Genty or Hampton or Henderson. Is it somebody we're not thinking about? You know what I mean? This class is so stacked, Mace. I feel like they're going to draft a guy that we didn't give enough proper time to before the draft. That's how many backs there are.
Dylan Sampson, maybe?
Simpson. I mean, we could talk about Jordan James. We could talk more about RJ Harvey. Like,
yeah,
there's so much, and we only have so much time.
Well, some of these guys, like if they draft him, it's like they're part of a solution. Like RJ Harvey, I think he's part of a 1-2. Right?
Yes, for sure.
Like Omarion Hampton, if they pick him, I could see him being the guy, and then the second part of that might be somebody who's already around.
Right.
Or the second part of that is somebody maybe who's undrafted as a rookie. Like I could see Omarion Hampton partnered with a Blake Watson, perhaps, or an Audric Estime at the goal line. RJ Harvey, with all respect to him, if he's in there, he's partnered to me with a Quinshawn Judkins or a Devin Neal. Somebody who's going to be like your every down guy. That's the thing. You know, when you talk about like all flavors, like not all the flavors are going to be like your every down bell cow. Like, you know, Omarion Hampton is like all things to all people. So is Ashton Genty. You know, Quinshawn Judkins can be that guy too, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we often say, we're fixing to find out.
Yes, we are. And got a big show for you on Friday. Mace is going to be at the owners' meeting. He's going to have big shows, plural, for you during that time. And the best Broncos coverage is right here on our Denver Sports YouTube channel. It is this show. It is Orange and Blue today. Mace, before we're out of here, need some help on YouTube. How can folks do that?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell,
so that you
never miss vid.
That's right. He's Andrew Mason. Follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at C Salami saying OBT's BFD. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Stay frosty.